There, Blackie, you're rather inside the car tonight for the whole show.
Well, we got a wind situation. Red tide was terrible last night.
Right. Okay. Now tomorrow is going to be National for 12s. That's plural. TWELVES Day.
What does that mean?
Well, it's April 12th tomorrow. There's 12 hours in a day. There's 12 dozen roses. There's 12 dozen eggs. People buy 12 dozen pastries.
What about donuts?
There's 12 months in a year, and Tom Brady wears number 12. And what I found out is not only Tom Brady, but a lot of older quarterbacks also use number 12. But I didn't put their names, I just put Tom Brady. Okay, now tomorrow is also Hamster Day. That's a big day. And National...
Actually, hamsters are small, so it's a small day.
National Licorice Day. And your father liked black licorice, but I never liked black licorice.
I love it.
But I ate the red one.
I love it. What's the name of that company? Chiclets? No, the thing. I love black.
Anise. It's made of anise.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, tomorrow's also National Mac Day, and M-A-C. It's not Big Mac. It's the name Mac, and they say it's Scottish, Irish, and it means sun in Gaelic language.
Hold on. Big Mac is spelled M-A-C.
It is, but I'm not talking about hamburgers.
I'm getting hungry.
No, it's your great-grandfather is Mac Innes. So he was the son of Innes. That's what that means. Okay, it's his day tomorrow. All right, today is National Pet Day and National Cheese Fondue Day and also National James Day. So James, if you're still watching, this is your day.
Hold on a second. Your name is James.
Oh yes, it's my day too. Yes,
It's your day too.
Yeah, I used to say he was the only boy in the grade that was named after his mother and father. And he was James Albert. Okay, now we're going into some famous birthdays here. 1932, Joel Grey, American actor, was in Cabaret. He's a dancer, singer, photographer, and the father of Jennifer Grey, who was in that Dirty Dancing movie. And now in 1939, Louise Lasser, American actress, was in Mary Hartman in 1976, and she was once married to Woody Allen. And today she's 84 years young. That sounds familiar. And she was also in Take the Money and Run. And,
great movie.
And in Bananas.
Bananas is another great movie.
Okay, and then there's last one here is 1960 is Jeremy Clarkson, English TV actor, was in Top Gear, is 63 years young today.
Spring Chicken.
Okay, now here's one of my favorite people. I used to think I was her reincarnated. I loved her show, Mary Hartman.
I remember growing up. That was the 70s, right?
Yeah, I think I said 76.
Yeah, that's what I said, 70s. Now, I remember you loved that show, Mary Hartman.
I did love Mary Hartman. I thought that was me. She worried about, the polishing the floor and all the...
No, your name is James, not Mary, so it's not you.
I know. Okay, we're going into history. Now, here's something that your brother and I forgot to ask Jim what it was all about. 1967, Tom Stoppard's play Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead. It debuted in London at the Old Vic. Did you ever go to the Old Vic?
No, I didn't. Hey, Gil 27 comes in. She says, Mary Hartman, the soup episode.
Oh, yeah.
I remember that one.
I love that one. She was trying to help her neighbor who had a bad cold, bought him some chicken soup. And she got distracted or left the room, and he couldn't hold his head up, and he died drowning in the chicken soup.
I remember that. I remember that one.
I love that one. We do have a weird sense of humor.
I was going to say borderline morbid, but good comedy.
It was. Okay, in 1970, Apollo 13 was launched on this day, and it's supposed to be the third landing, but it was aborted after an oxygen tank exploded on the way to the moon. Well, that was a problem there.
Tom Hanks did the movie, didn't he?
Yeah, that was a good
movie. No, it's a cool movie.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll watch that one tonight.
Okay, now here's a couple of not a couple. Well, there are a couple of quotes, but it's the same person. I'm about possibilities and about surprises, and the life force. That's one of them. Waxing and Pinky were surprised tonight. They're about surprises also. Oh, here's another one. I'm always interested in the challenge of doing something new. I like that. And third one is I'm crazy about surprises. I love chance. That's me too. And it's also Waxing and Pinky tonight. Who said those three things?
Bill Murray.
No, it was Joel Grey.
Okay.
You were close. And speaking of tomorrow being the hamster day, I thought, let's see if there's any humor about hamsters. That's what we're going to do tonight. Okay, what's the difference between a hamster and you can't connect a hamster to a computer? Oh.
It's your show. You want to do a take two?
Yeah.
You just said, oh.
Yeah.
Take two.
Apparently I didn't write the whole thing out. How about that? We're skipping. Sorry.
The answer was a mouse.
Sorry, the first one. All right. Did you hear about the hamster who got stuck in the computer?
No.
Well, then it ate all the cookies. Okay, why did the hamsters spend 3 days in their exercise ball?
Well, they probably wanted to get into shape.
That's one answer. They said, well, because they were on a roll.
Correct.
Okay, what did the hamster think of their new toy?
Well, they probably wanted to check it out and have a ball.
Well, that's one answer. They said, well, they thought it was really good.
Really good.
Yeah. When does a hamster take a bath?
I suppose, I mean, hamsters, who are in the wild when it rains.
Well, that's one answer. The one they said was just like us when nobody's looking.
Correct. Hey, shout out to Minnesota.
Oh, yeah, okay. What do you call a hamster in space?
Guinea pigs in space, the Muppets.
Well, that actually sounds like a good answer. The one they said was a hamsteroid.
Hamsteroid?
Okay, what do you call a hamster?
Sounds like a condition.
It does. We won't go into that.
Hamstring and roids.
What do you call a hamster that can lift up a car?
Super hamster.
Well, that's one answer. They said you call them very strong.
Correct.
What do you call a hamster that isn't a professional?
A novice.
The answer they gave was you call them a amateur.
Amateur?
Why couldn't the hamster drive to the store?
It didn't have a license.
That's one answer. They said because they only had one wheel.
It could have been a unicycle.
I suppose.
You can drive a unicycle to the store.
Well, you can, you ride it, but I don't know if you can drive it.
Or at least
unless it's electric.
Or maybe you have to stay in the circus tent. I don't know.
Okay, where do hamsters like to go on vacation?
New Hampshire.
Hey, actually, that sounds like a good answer. The one they said was to Amsterdam.
Amsterdam.
Why did the hamster ask for a pay raise?
Well, because it's the cost of living.
Actually, that sounds like a good answer. They said because they wanted a bigger celery.
Correct. Because of the cost of living.
Right.
Bigger celery?
I guess they eat celery.
No, they do eat celery.
Okay. What do you call a hamster with a top hat?
Pass.
Abrahamster Lincoln. What do you call a hamster with no legs?
Legless.
One answer. They said a furball.
Correct.
Know why I was wondering why my hamster was so fat?
Well, if I was wondering, probably not enough celery.
That's one answer.
Has to do with diet, right?
Yeah, they said, well, then it became apparent.
Correct. That's actually factual.
That was very factual.
Oh, that's factual, yeah.
Very factual. Why did the hamster run away on foot?
Because it was frightened by something.
Well, that's one answer. They said because he didn't have a wheel. Okay. This is sort of a sad one. The reason I'm sad is because my hamster passed away today. Did you hear why?
Usually it's old age, to be honest with you.
Well, that's probably the main reason, but this particular case, they said, well, it seems he just fell asleep at the wheel.
No, it is kind of sad.
That is sort of sad.
No. Hamsters don't live that long, all right? Gerbils, hamsters, and whatever. They don't live that long.
It was a joke that I didn't say, and that probably explains that. Okay, where did the hamster deposit its paycheck?
In the piggy bank.
Well, that's one answer. They said in its shavings account.
Shavings account? Yeah, they eat wood, don't they? Shavings. They like to eat wood and stuff like that, or something.
Right.
Shavings account.
What happens when my hamster thinks storing food is a funny game?
Well, storing food is funny for I think anyone who, or anything, or any animal that can breathe. It's fun.
Yeah, okay, that's one answer. They said, well, he likes to play hide and cheek.
I don't get that one.
He stores the food in his cheek.
Oh, in his cheek.
And
Hide and cheek.
And on that happy note,
I thought it was squirrels who did that. Hamsters do that too?
Yeah, I guess so.
Oh yeah, I believe you.
But we'd like to thank everyone for joining us tonight as part of our Sunset family. And obviously we found out tonight no two sunsets are the same. So come back each and every night to see just what's happening at the South Jetty here in Venice, Florida, live. And please subscribe and hit the like button, and just go to YouTube and type in Sunset Lady. There you can subscribe.
And please ring that notification bell on the right hand side. Scroll up 1, 2, 3, and it says all notifications, because we do change the times. Every Sunday we're changing the times because we do follow the sun.
Oh,
your turn.
It is my turn.
Distraction 101.
It was. Now it's time for our theme song, Running Around This Town, that you wrote under Whittier, and I'll say, good night, Blackie.
Hey, Sunset, awesome show tonight, and it is rather dark out here tonight, but I know, normally I don't like to put the lights on to show the rocks, but it's dark out there.
That's all we have to look at.
So I said we put the lights on, because it's the only show we got. And the blinking lights in the background. That's the type of thing we like on the Sunset Lady Show. We'll see you guys tomorrow here live again from the South Jetty for another Heavenly Sunset. Signing off for Sunset Lady, I'm Blackie Fitzpatrick saying ciao for now. You guys are great.